We're very lucky to be in Bowral High School this evening and to welcome the work of a group of driven and conscientious Bowral High School students. They've taken up the challenge on how to create awareness of PFAS. We know it's been in products such as Teflon and waterproof garments, cosmetics, and part of the goal of our students is to foster consumer awareness and choice, so we can decide what we want to buy and what reject. We should all congratulate the Bowral High School students' PFAS team. They're making a real difference.
Thank you so much. We just want to start off with, I'm Meg. Here we have Henry, Chloe, and Michael, and we also have a fifth member who couldn't be with us tonight. But we are the 5 members of the BHS Game Changers for last year. And so our lovely introduction did give a bit of insight into what we did. We got to be part of the challenge. We were given our wicked problem. We were introduced to it by one of our teachers, and he is good friends with Katrina McGowan, and she directed the documentary on Stan, How to Poison a Planet. And if you haven't given it a watch, it is incredible. It's what inspired us to keep going with this and keep pushing it so much. Because as we started looking into the issue of PFAS, we realized just how big of a problem it is. And we were saying just before, as we were sitting down, it's so strange to be sitting there and listening to other people talk about it, because you never hear other people talk about it. And so that's really been amazing, and we've really enjoyed it. We've loved listening to all of the other speakers. We wanted to say to Kat, you were talking about in platypuses how the babies and younger generations have higher concentrations, and we were chatting about how in what we've been researching into, we found that it passes in humans specifically from the mother to the child through the placenta, and so often children can have really high concentrations, and we thought maybe that might be a similar thing with platypuses. So it's a really interesting thing to listen to other people talk about it. And when we were at the Game Changer Grand Final, we came up with our 4-stage plan on how to tackle PFAS, because we thought the biggest issue within this is that nobody knows about it. And this was just as it was starting to come out in the news last year. And so we came up with an app, a petition to make federal legislative change, our social media campaign, and we also have an awareness movement. And so we're first going to hear from Henry, and he's going to tell us a bit about the app.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. And as Meg said, it is so strange to be in a room where other people are talking about PFAS as well. It's a really awesome opportunity. So our app is, as Meg said, a program to promote awareness. The biggest problem we've seen with PFAS is that nobody knows what it is. And we feel that if people do know what it is, it'll have a snowball effect that CFCs and asbestos had. So the first stage of our app is a PFAS hotspot map. And currently we have a working prototype of this app. And you can actually see on the right there's that photo of Australia with a bunch of blue dots on it. So what we want this to do is not to scare people and not to make people leave their homes or avoid going to areas, but to just promote the fact that it's there and it's everywhere, and we need to take consideration about that. Our next slide, we have a product scanner. So this is a very ambitious idea, but we've seen it done with free-range eggs and caged eggs, where you can scan your egg cartons and it will say where they came from. This will state if products have PFAS in it or are expected to have PFAS in it, such as your pans, your waterproof jackets, and other products like that. We've been working with a couple products in Woolies, and we've got on our app a working example with about 5 products, and it tells you if it has PFAS in it and what alternatives you can go for that are PFAS-free. The next section of our app is a PFAS news section. So this news section will tell us the latest updates in the PFAS world scientifically, but also emotional stories such as Jervis Bay, especially with the First Nations people there, who have high effects from PFAS as they consume the fish their whole lives and they've been on that soil for their whole lives. And finally, which Chloe will talk more about, is our petition. So our petition is to mandate labelling on all products containing PFAS. This, as Meg said, will just promote towards awareness, and we actually completed a federal parliamentary petition, which we got a couple hundred signatures on, and we were actually thinking about speaking to members here today about what the next steps are. On to Michael for the social media.
All right, cool. So as all of you know, social media has become an absolutely essential part of all our lives. We use it all day, every day, from young people to old people. We all use it all the time. So we wanted to really harness that power of social media and try and spread the word of how horrible PFAS is through these campaigns. So we have our social media page as well as our Facebook page, and these pages really give us the platform where we can speak to younger audiences, speak to older audiences, just everyone, everywhere. It's been a really good tool. We've had quite a few videos go quite viral, which is quite good. We've had quite a few people talking to us, and yeah, it's just been really good. Social media is such a powerful tool, and we feel that's quite an essential part of our awareness campaign. And then actually, speaking about our awareness campaign, we have Forever February, which is our awareness campaign, which we started up in the Game Changer Challenge. So what we do is we dye one pinky red and one pinky blue. The red pinky demonstrates how PFAS will stay in your blood forever because the food dye is quite hard to get off. Then we have the blue, which is representing the PFAS in our waterways, which also doesn't degrade very easily. And yes, we started this up. We are going to definitely do it at February coming up. And I'll hand over to Chloe to talk about our petition.
I would just like to say we did check the food dye was PFAS-free. So it's all safe, guys, don't worry. So now with our petition, we are aware that the Australian government has banned 3 types of PFAS. But as Kat said before, there are 7 million types of PFAS. Banning 3 isn't quite enough. So while this ban has made a huge step towards change, and it's been absolutely needed, what it hasn't done is allowed choice. It hasn't allowed us to make a choice. So now that we have 3 types of PFAS banned, they're probably just going to go use other types of PFAS. So our petition and our legislative change is to mandate all labelling of PFAS. Now the idea of that is that you guys can all choose what you want to consume. And this means that companies have to then make decisions in mind with what their consumers are choosing. So when you are choosing PFAS-free options, a producer is going to go, oh, maybe we should start making PFAS-free options. It doesn't just start with you. It has a snowball effect that goes on and on. And that's why we're pushing for this change. So we, as Henry said, we had our parliamentary petition. We got a few signatures on that, and it has now gone through and is awaiting a response from Parliament. So hopefully we will see some response from that. And if it doesn't, we will just start it again, because we do feel like this is a really valuable thing, as it does allow people to make that choice and then push for that change. So I'll hand over to Meg to show what you've been doing now.
So since it was this time last year that we got to the grand final, we have had some amazing opportunities. So we've gotten to speak to different news organisations. We got to speak to ABC News and also Sky News, and our aim in this is really just to spread awareness. And you can see also here on the screen, we had our trip to Parliament. We were lucky enough to get to go, and we were invited there by our local member, and we got to speak to lots of other people and kind of talk about PFAS and see how it looks in the legislative world. With this, in our next couple steps, we found that we need more information, we need more research, and we need data. For our app, we have a prototype. We were lucky enough to work with Friday Technologies and Apple, and they've helped us develop a prototype, but we've now reached a point where we are stuck. We don't have the data. We use data that we found online, but we can't guarantee how accurate it is, and we would like more in-depth data specifically for our product scanner and for our heat map. And so we need to work with companies, and we need to work with other organisations and researchers to get the data that we need to get the app up and running to push for the legislation. So that's currently where we are at and what we're going to look at next. It got a bit hectic there with exams, and we did have to put it on hold for a while. But now that we've finished, we're going to go back to looking for it, and we're going to try and push this further forward. So thank you so much for inviting us here. It's been great to listen to. This is our social media. Feel free to give it a follow and keep track of what we're up to. Thank you.